It's time for this week's First Utah Business Spotlight.
Welcome back. This is Mark Hunter, and today we're interviewing Curtis Morley, Sean Civilly, and Andrew Civilly with the company eLearning Brothers. So, Sean, tell us about how your company got started.
You know, back in 2009 is when we started, and Andrew and I both kind of previously had experience working in the online training world. Me as more of a graphic designer, multimedia designer, Andrew as more managing teams in the online kind of training development teams. And in 2009, we officially started, and really what the need that we saw was there's a lot of ugly training that was being produced. A lot of stand-up trainers were being asked to produce multimedia, graphically rich training, and it made for what we thought was kind of boring training. And so with our expertise in doing multimedia design, graphic design, we thought we'd produce templates and develop online training that's a little bit more rich, engaging, and inspiring. And so we really formed a company based off of just awesomeness. So awesome training.
It is awesome. I've actually been on your website, and I do a fair amount of training myself. So building that stuff from scratch can be difficult. So I'm really impressed with what you do. But for our listeners, Andrew, why don't you tell us exactly what your company does and how you go about it?
Yeah, really, again, our goal and our whole mission is to create e-learning awesomeness. We're trying to help companies to create e-learning and online training that's engaging, inspiring, and interactive. And that's what we try to do, whether it's helping the internal developer build it on their own or us actually building it for them.
Right. So you use awesomeness. It seems like this place is a fun place to work. Have you had any funny experiences when you started your business or as you run your business?
There are lots of funny experiences. We have some wonderful employees that like to joke around. One, I guess, event that happened that wasn't completely funny at the time was earlier this year. We did a conference in England, and I booked all of our tickets for January of last year. And so I booked them all a year off. And so we ended up spending, I think it was about a $3,000 mistake on my part.
Ouch.
So that happens once.
Yeah, never again.
Never again.
That same trip we had two TVs blow up and had all sorts of funny debacles.
Yeah.
But
Sounds like it was not meant to be on that trip.
No.
So what are your biggest opportunities in the next 3 years? Curtis, why don't you take that?
The e-learning market is expanding rapidly, and as we climb that mountain, the e-learning mountain, we plan to be the largest e-learning template company on the planet.
That's cool. Awesome, as you say. So what are the advantages, are there advantages for being headquartered here in Utah?
Oh, there's so many advantages to being headquartered in Utah. Number one, it's an easy commute. But beyond that, there's phenomenal talent that comes from Brigham Young University, Utah Valley University, all of the colleges here, and compared to like a Silicon Valley, the rates are just incredibly great.
Yeah, so you're getting just as much talent here as far as education and abilities, but maybe not the same cost as you would in California.
Well, and the people are amazing here.
They really are.
I mean, loyal, dedicated, hardworking, just good people.
So the work ethic, that's something I think is pretty critical. So for Utah businesses, absolutely. All right, well, cool. Well, Sean, tell us about your culture then here as a company.
You know, I think that carries right on with just being headquartered here in Utah. There's just some great people to work with. And as Andrew and I started the company, every hire that we brought in was just it was kind of a big step for us. And as we interviewed these people, we really wanted to find people that had the right personality to fit the culture that we wanted to create. So we really hired people that we thought would just take ownership of the company like we would. And as we brought each person in, one by one, they've contributed to this. They've really built this culture for us, and the culture really is just fun. Some of the people walk into work and they say, "Welcome to fun," and it's kind of a fun saying, and it's kind of stuck with me. And that's really, I think a lot of people enjoy coming into work. They play foosball in the back. You might even hear that a little bit later on today. They have, I think, a drum set showed up the other day. They have guitars. They try to just have fun, and at the same time they get their work done. And I think that's part of the ownership that they've taken in this company.
Yeah, so a lot of people seem in the tech industry or the IT industry, they're looking for that fun culture in their business. So
I figure if you need to go to work every day, you might as well go to work with people that you like and enjoy working with. And so you go out and find people that are talented and can add to your company and hire them.
Awesome. So what's been the biggest surprise in starting your own business, Andrew?
That it's working might be the biggest surprise. I mean, you always dream about it, right? You think of starting your own company and what would you do, and you have all these ideas. And then when you actually make the jump and try it, I think you always believe that it can work, but when it actually does work, and then you look around and you think, wow, somehow this is supporting people and families and all that. It's at times surprising, but I think more than that, it's fulfilling. It's a nice sense of accomplishment, and it ends up being a fun place to go every day.
Are there difficult things that, as a small business owner, that you face? Maybe some words of advice that you might have for other small business owners or new startups?
I think the more that a business grows and the more successful it is, you get more opportunities to do other things. And so it becomes a little bit difficult to figure out what should we really do. Because in the beginning, there's not always a lot of opportunities. So you kind of chase certain things. But right now, there's lots of opportunities, and it's a growing market like Curtis was talking about. So it's really trying to figure out what are we, what do we want to be, and you can't do everything and you can't be everything. So you really need to figure out what you want.
Well, and you'd mentioned growth. So Curtis, we've heard you've had some pretty big growth recently. So what do you credit that to?
In part, it's the explosion of the e-learning market. Everybody taking their online training, or excuse me, their in-person training and turning it to online training. But also, I think a huge part of the growth is attributed to Sean and Andrew and the rest of the people here. And just a bunch of great people working really hard to do something good.
Well, that's awesome. And like I said, I've been to your website. So what is your website address? How do people get a hold of you?
It's elearningbrothers.com.
elearningbrothers.com. Okay, great. And I've played around quite a bit on your website, and it looks like even a small business could use this tool to automate and make sure that they're being consistent with their training and do it with ease. Seems like you've got a pretty easy system to use. So
Yeah, I mean, if there's small businesses that are out there building their own training and have people in-house that are building that, they can log into our website and get different templates and assets and audio clips and images of different things that will help them build their training without needing to go out and hire a company to do it all for you or whatever it is. They can build that on their own, and they can build it with the templates that we have.
great.
A great way to think about it is that we're the iStock photo for e-learning.
Great. That's a good way to look at it. All right. Well, thank you, Curtis, Sean, and Andrew. Appreciate you guys being with us today, and look forward to seeing what your company does in the future.
Thanks.